principle of conservation of angular momentum unless there was a massive explosion imparting that angular momentum.
Many people were also concerned that it looked like the top block of World Trade Center 1 seemed to twist and come down. However, it almost came down slightly tilted. Now, Dave Griscom, in his article, Hand Waving, makes the point that for the amount of energy contained in that top block falling to have the kind of impact to collapse the rest of the building, especially symmetrically, it would have had to have been a perfect fall. Now, we noticed that the building did come down with a slight tilt to it. This could have, he says, this could have diffused some of the energy. Have you looked at this possibility?
I'm not sure that I quite follow David Griscom's argument, but on the other hand, if it does come down in a tilt, and by the way, there's another principle that may violate, because coming down in a tilt like that, you do have gravitational pull, but you also have a conservation of momentum. And was the perturbations analysis adequate to produce that fall without some other force like an explosion? But if it came down away from the building like it was photographed to have fallen, well, then there is no reason, for example, for that thing to have suddenly, almost instantly, formed a huge dust cloud. And furthermore, it would not necessarily break the base of the building, because it would obviously do a lot of damage, but it would not necessarily cause the rest of the building to fall. There was just the whole scenario seems inconsistent with the ideas of just a fall causing the whole building to come down.
Professor Grabbe, one engineer that I talked to, said that the compression of the top block of the building coming down would have added increased energy and increased heat, almost like a piston in a car engine compressing into a closed chamber. Could that have created the additional energy to cause steel to melt and vaporize?
I would say that sounds very unlikely. The conditions to create something like that would be so extreme that would have extremely low probability of being created. I just do not find the amount of melting of steel was massive. So I would not agree that that model could explain the massive amounts of melted steel that were observed in the ruins.
Crockett Grabbe, is there anything else you'd like to add about what could have happened that day before we have to go?
Well, I want to mention that there are several things we haven't discussed about this. We have discussed the article by Garcia. The conclusion of the article Garcia is that the building imploded. In fact, I talked about the evidence of these squibs suggesting differently that the building actually exploded. And in fact, there's if you look at the ruins of the building after the rubble that was produced by the falling of the building, you see that it looks like a bunch of scattered pancakes falling one on top of each other. There is a lot of rubble there, but there's evidence for the structure of these floors still there. And in fact, that was I think what it actually was. It was basically the floors were in free fall, and it was in free fall because of explosions breaking up the support of the building. In those explosions, obviously the support went first at the bottom, and the first floor went first, and then the floor above it, and the floor above it, and that's why it came down as it did. It came down very symmetrically, almost into a free fall in 7 seconds.
Stephen E. Jones, Brigham Young University professor, has come forward with the idea that perhaps something like a military cutting agency, an enhanced version of thermite, which he calls thermate, could have caused like a timed cutting action. Many people wonder what happened to the 47 steel beams and also the surrounding peripheral columns that supported the building. A very small percentage, as you mentioned earlier, of the structural steel was actually damaged by the planes. Have you taken any of this into consideration in your ideas?
Yes, in fact, the argument by Stephen Jones makes a lot of sense, because they're in the rubble of all three buildings. The Building 7, Building 1, and Building 2 was found quite a bit of melted steel. And furthermore, there was evidence of evaporated steel. Well, steel melts at 1,530 degrees centigrade. That's about 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit. It evaporates at 2,750 degrees centigrade, which is about 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperatures would have had to be much more immense than could be produced by the fires of these jets. The jet fires produce a maximum of about 1,100 degrees centigrade, which is 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So it would be quite impossible to have accounted for the molten metal. On the other hand, a thermite explosive could. Thermite would create these very high temperatures that were observed. So that theory that that explosive might have been thermite, I think, has the possibilities that need to be looked into.
Professor Crockett Grabbe, thank you for joining us in the INN World Report. And now we're going to take a look at some exclusive footage of the fires in World Trade Center 7 that I took myself earlier that day from a 40-story building, from the roof of a 40-story building 6 blocks north of Trade Tower 7. Crockett Grabbe, thank you for joining us.
The International Newsnet World Report is broadcast television in more than 20 million homes in America. We are non-commercial, non-profit, and we are viewer-supported. That is how we can bring you these kinds of stories and interviews 5 days a week. Keep INN broadcasting. Please go to our website, INNWorldReport.net, and contribute what you can. You can also email us at INNWorldReport@gmail.com. Thank you.